Hello, welcome back to our final live before Christmas. It feels like only yesterday we started doing these and now we've had so many with some incredible guests. As you may or may not have seen, last week we had a few technical issues. Instagram wasn't quite playing ball, so we had to scrap the live. But thankfully, Dora has very kindly agreed to join us again this week. Fact she's come on now, so we can have the conversation we were supposed to have last week, just close to Christmas, which is nice. It's just loading now, fingers crossed. We won't have the same issue as we did last week, where it just didn't load up at all. But apparently Instagram isn't down this week, so we should be okay. Jamie also asked me to wear a Christmas jumper, and I couldn't find mine, so I'm wearing my boyfriend's, which is golf specific, a golf themed Christmas jumper, which is not very Hannah themed because I don't play golf. No offense to anyone who does play golf. If you like golf, that's okay, but for me it's not my sport. But he very much likes golf, and it was the only Christmas jumper I could find, so here I am wearing it. Instagram seems to be giving me the connecting for a long time again. Fingers crossed it's gonna come out of nowhere and let us connect. Fingers crossed, because otherwise you're going to have me rambling again for another 9 minutes. Oh no! Right, let's try a different way. It is trying to connect. Oh, yay!
Yay, you're in. Amazing.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Oh, I thought we were going to be where we were again
I know,
last
I had
week.
like everything crossed like cheeseburger.
I was like, no, not again. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming back. Gosh, not last week. Felt like I was just talking to myself for about 3 hours. I think it was only about 5 minutes, but it felt like a very long time. Right, well, as usual with these things, we'll get straight into it because we don't have a huge amount of time and we've got loads of questions. If you guys have any questions whilst you're watching and want to ask them, then please do. I'll try and keep an eye on them so that we can get to those as well. But first things first, you've got quite the brand. Tell us a bit about you.
Awesome. So firstly, excuse the echo because I'm in a really huge studio. So yeah, I'm Dora. I am a Nike running coach, and I also coach children and young people in like fitness and multi-sports.
Cool.
Yeah.
In short, that's it. It
Basically,
wrapped up.
yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna say, there's so much more that we'll dig into today. But in short, that's where we'll find you. So your passion for running is very clear for all of us who follow you to see, whether that's in your posts in beautiful locations or just on your stories day to day. So where does that all begin?
So it's funny actually because running actually was something I didn't like doing at all. And I'd started boxercise and then boxing with a friend when I was about 18, 19. And I really enjoyed it and wanted to like pursue it even more and get better. And my boxing coach was like, yeah, you know, if you want to improve, you should start running. And I was sort of like, oh my God, running is so hard. And I just don't enjoy being out of breath. So I was like, whatever. It took me weeks to agree to it. And I finally started running. And, you know, I had like small milestones. You know, I was a complete beginner. I was very embarrassed to be out, like, you know, stopping at every traffic light there was. But then, yeah, I kind of took it a bit seriously and found like different running communities to be a part of. And then, yeah, it all kind of just like erupted into this amazing world of running and communities and traveling to amazing countries and doing marathons and ultra relays, whatever you call it.
Just all the miles.
Yeah, all of them.
And talking of community, diversity in running has become a huge topic and one that we're incredibly passionate about, Ultrax, and I know we sort of opening up to your community and hopefully to lots more communities to increase our diversity in this incredible sport that is ultra running. So tell us a little bit about your organisation, Ultra Black Running.
Yeah, so Ultra Black Running came from, so 2020, I decided that I wanted to train for my first ultra, and obviously everything that's happening, that wasn't possible anymore, and I was staying in the countryside during lockdown, and the only thing available to me was like trail running and all the trails, and whilst I find it super beautiful, I was sort of like, this is so fantastic, and not everyone knows that, you know, they can access this, and, you know, I need to just kind of think of a way to make this a bit more fun for myself, because I can go out and run for hours on end, but it's so nice doing it when you have people who you can relate to on the day to day. And yeah, so it came from like running one day, and I was just sort of like, I'm so upset that I can't do my ultra this year, and all races are cancelled and postponed, and this is just so sad. Um, what can I do to make myself feel a bit better? And I was like, so I did the Race in the Stones virtual
Yeah.
challenge, 100k in a week. Almost killed me, but I made it. And I thought, you know, like, I'm so passionate about like making sports accessible to everybody, and everyone, you know, can do something they're passionate about. And I was like, I'm gonna just start a thing for trail running. I'm just gonna ask a group of friends if they want to run the trails. And obviously it was summer, so it's a lot easier
Yeah.
to persuade people to come out. And you know, a group of friends came out, and I was like, I want to make this like an actual thing, like trail running for Black women, Black non-binary people, to just come and explore the outdoors. You know, we don't see as much representation in that field. So I was like, I will create the space and see where it goes. And so far, it's been amazing. We've gone to different local trails. The summer was an absolutely amazing one, considering everything that's happening. And now we have people training towards, you know, their first like trail race. So yeah, didn't expect it to move in the direction it did, but yeah, I'm so excited for everything that's to come with it.
I was going to say, and yeah, you must be incredibly excited about the future. It's going so fast in such a short space of time.
Mm,
Kind of, you know, the possibilities are endless. There's so much more that you can do with it, and so many more trails you can take it, quite literally.
absolutely.
So I think for a lot of people, I think they are so easily kind of stopped in their tracks as such by barriers. You know, we can all think of 1,000 barriers that will stop us doing something that we're really passionate about. What do you think are the biggest barriers in growing diversity in sort of ultra running and trail running?
I think when it comes to barriers, you know, the first barrier is down to the person, and it's the first step. You know, getting out the door, finally making that move to get started. But it becomes a lot harder when you don't really see people who you can relate to in the field you're trying to get into. So, you know, I don't see a lot of women in the trail running world as it is. So it was hard for me to kind of just like keep at it and actually be like, you know, I'm going to switch my race and do it virtually, because I don't actually have to worry about being at the start line and there not being that many women.
Yeah.
And yes, I think when you don't see representation, and as well as, you know, being a beginner in something, those things all just play into one, and it like affects you in the long run, because you don't get started, and then because you don't get started, no one else can see you getting started, and then there's just no representation and all that kind of things. But also having groups for it, creating some basis for this kind of stuff is so important. And I think that's as well. And we need to see more of those popping up. But there's so many people that I've found through Instagram during lockdown, so it's been absolutely brilliant.
I think you're so right. I think it's that sort of creating that safe space for people to come and you know, we talk about it a lot. When you're running with someone, whether you've known them 10 minutes or 10 years, you're not looking at them in the eye, right? So when you're talking, the conversation tends to flow quite smoothly and quite naturally, and you end up opening up quite a lot more than you perhaps usually would if you were sat having a conversation, you know, like you and I are face to face. I mean, we're not face to face, but you know what I mean. Um,
Yeah.
and so there is that, and also I ran a little bit in the run up to Ultra X England with some friends, kind of like they won't mind me saying this because we're all strange people, but quite a sort of strange bunch of people, you know? Like, how often would we have, there were sort of real varying ages from all different sort of ends of the country. So some people not even from the UK, but happened to be in the UK at that time. And we'd come together sort of most Saturdays and we'd run, and we might have different paces, different distances to do, but we'd all start in the same car park and sort of give each other the kind of rallying up that we needed to before we headed out on this long run. And then we might finish 2 hours apart from another person, but we'd all gather in that car park at the end and get a coffee, a takeaway coffee. And it was the nicest thing. And actually, that group of people may never have come together if they hadn't shared that sort of strange passion of running for a really long time. You know,
Absolutely.
might not have met, but they absolutely made my summer those Saturdays, and they were just such easy conversations, such incredible people, great company, you know, and just all kind of coming together over something that we really love doing. And I think, like you
Absolutely.
said, creating that safe space, whether that's just a group of 5 of you or an incredible sort of massive community like you've got, there's so much to be said for that.
Yeah, and I think, the beauty of it was that, everyone that started coming initially were very new to running as well
Yeah,
as trail running, and it's sort of like it's okay, and it's literally like we're going to stop every couple of minutes because we need to take some pictures,
yeah,
obviously, and also, there's no it's a no judgment zone, and this is a space where you can't get things wrong, but this is a space where you can like constantly stop or be super tired, or like it's like no judgment, just
yeah.
come enjoy it. It's like community first, and like the running is just what's bringing us together.
Absolutely, and I think also, I think there's two parts to this. There's a lot of people who come from marathons and where everything is about the time and everything is about the splits and everything is about the speed, and then you come over to this sort of parallel universe as such, where it's just not about that at all, and it is, you know, you get so many people saying, "Oh gosh, I don't know how you do it." Like I ran 20k and I was really tired. Well, yeah, because 20k is a really long way. Like you know, obviously you're going to be tired. Anyone's going to be, you know, a little bit tired if they've run 20k hard. Like, it's a tough distance, but there's no kind of judgment around that with ultra running. Like you said, it is, you know, stop and have a snack, sit down and have a sandwich, like have a walk up the hill, walk down the hill, have a chat with the person you're running next to you. I think it's so much more inclusive in that way, and sometimes it does take people, like you say, to sort of take that first step into the community or sign up to a race to see that, because perhaps from the outside it can sometimes still look a bit daunting. It's big distances,
Mm-hmm.
big miles. There is obviously, you still get your professionals or whatever, but there is something so different about this running community, I think, than perhaps what people assume running communities are like.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things about like ultra running or trail running is the fact that you get to snack all the time.
Me
I'm like,
too.
who won't love this? And I've like, wine grams and Kinder Buenos are my go-to at the minute. The Kinder
Oh,
Buenos, it's a bit of an experience because it's like crushed in my bag. Um, but yeah, it's that understanding as well. Like ultra running and trail running, they are absolutely long distances, and 20k for an elite person is super hard. 20k for an absolute novice is completely difficult. It's just building the confidence to be like, I'm going to give it a go, and this is my journey. But everyone here we're like a little family doing it together.
yeah. Everyone is welcome on it as such,
There you
and
go.
absolutely agree with you. Ultras are basically a walking picnic. We were just, laughing about it the other day. We went to the Peak District for a day to do some running, and about sort of 3 minutes before we all got out the car, we were all shoveling ice buns in our mouths, and we were like, "You would never do
Amazing,
for like a marathon training session, would you? Like just before you get on the track, just shove an ice bun down. Like you just
amazing. I love that.
never do that." But they were so good, and I've actually have continued to be a staple for my long runs. Ice buns. So
I'm actually gonna give that a go.
yeah,
Ice
so.
buns.
So we've talked a lot about, you know, how to break the barriers and how to get more people into either running with your groups or you know, finding their own community. But what can we as brands and also as individuals do to help you sort of grow community and therefore increase diversity and increase this kind of all-inclusive nature of running?
I mean, I guess there's so many things that there was a lot of work that is to be done in terms of what brands and companies can do. But I guess the first start, is sort of like telling the stories, like stuff like Instagram Lives or just spreading the message about communities. But also, brands and companies need to figure out what their why is and what their vision is, and then they can find the communities that really align with that, and
Yeah.
then talk to those people and find out best how they want their story told, and how they want like what do they need to help them progress in their field, whether it be help along their training journeys, storytelling. I mean, the opportunities are absolutely endless when you have those conversations. But I think the first start is having those conversations.
Yeah, just like allowing that conversation to happen as well. I think
Yeah,
so many people are almost a little bit cautious and wary of starting these conversations in case they say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing.
yeah,
Actually, you're doing so much more damage by, like, if you say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, no one's going to bite your head off. You know, we're human. We make mistakes and we
Absolutely.
sometimes. I do it all the time. And I think it's just having the confidence to ask, you know, if you don't know, ask, or if you're unsure, ask, or you know, just start the conversation. Allow people to kind of freely speak around this, because that is the sort of the barrier, right? Is
Yeah.
just starting it.
Yeah.
And so obviously you've got your incredible community, but are there any events or initiatives that you guys are getting involved with, or starting or looking towards for January, that we as a community ourselves, as a brand, and the individuals watching can kind of get on board with and help get the word out?
Yeah, so initially I just wanted to be we go to different trails and experience running, but I've got to meet the needs of my amazing members. So I have a trail running program at the moment, and we're just sort of building confidence to get out on the trails a bit more. And I think we're going up to like 10K plus until we can build the confidence to go further. But there are like so many things I'm working on at the moment, but it's a one-man team at the minute. And there are opportunities to complete races in the new year. So we have a few pushing towards like March, April, and I'm working towards my own ultra, maybe like in the summer. I mean, I don't know. I might just train and I'm in training at the moment, and then I'm basically just going to just jump into one.
Yeah.
That's just how I operate, and it's how I work best. That way, I don't think about the nerves or anything like that. But I'm training people up towards their first, trail event. At the moment, I'm just speaking to a few people because some of them are like 10K, and some of them are 100. So
Yeah.
it's just trying to find that healthy balance to meet the needs of my community, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we've touched on this a little bit already, but I always love hearing people's like big goals. I'm not talking about the ones that are like 2021, 2022. I'm talking like 10 years time. So what are your big goals with Ultra Black Friday?
Do you know what? Like honestly, in 10 years' time, 15 years' time, I want there to not be a need for
Yeah.
spaces like such because running will look completely different, and everybody from all walks of life would be standing on those start lines, and everything's going to be diverse and amazing. But I want people to just know, because it's easy for me to say, get confident in trail running, but I just want people to understand that they have like so many powers like that are unlocked. And I like to call it, the most unlikely people to run. As a friend, actually, we had a conversation once. We were talking about unlikely people to run marathons, ultras, whatever. Because I'm even thinking to my own experiences to when I did the Speed Project, which is the crazy
Yeah.
relay race from LA to Vegas, and I'm probably one of the most unlikely. I was probably one of the most unlikely people to ever do something like that. I kind of was roped into it, but I want people to understand that they can actually do stuff like that if you just put your mind to it. Don't
Yeah.
worry about times, speed, just left, right, repeat, get there. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly. It's just one foot in front of the other. I remember my coach saying that to me. You just keep putting one foot in front of the other, you will get to the end. It doesn't matter how
absolutely.
or how fast, you just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And I remember thinking, he's mad. Like, I'm
Yeah,
never able to live by that mantra when I'm out there. But you know what? Every single day, I, literally just focused on putting one foot in front of the other. And I got to the end. So there you go.
there you go.
Um, okay, and that's not all. So tell us a little bit about Last Pick Athletics Club.
Yeah, so Last Bit Athletics Club was founded in 2017, and it's basically it was initially for those who just take away the stigma around exercise and fitness. Like if you think back to when you were in secondary school and running was a punishment, and when you talk to people about starting running, all they think back is to secondary school when they had to run around the track really really fast.
Yeah.
Or they tell you, I can't even run for the bus. And you're like, yeah, because you just darted for it. And it was just basically creating a space. It was a group of like young individuals, you know, who probably wouldn't go and start running by themselves or doing anything by themselves. And that was the space for them. And hence the name Last Pick
Mm-hmm.
Athletics Club, because obviously we were all, I don't come from an athletic background.
Yeah.
And I was always the one chose last at school as well. And yeah, sport wasn't really my thing. So this is a space for them. And we've done some brilliant things. People have, completed races. We've done some projects with children in schools. We've done projects for like teenage people during the summer, just to let them try out different sports. Obviously, running was like our thing and is our thing, but we've done things like boxing, strength and conditioning, and the list kind of goes on. But we just basically want to create stuff for people that wouldn't necessarily have access to growing up.
Absolutely, and I think this is such a relevant topic, and we almost forget about it in the kind of industry that we're in now. Everyone just assumes that. I mean, we get it quite a lot. Is that people? My favorite one is, "Oh, when did you get healthy?" We're like, "Oh, I mean, I'd like to think that I was relatively healthy throughout, but people seem to think that it's this like either massive transition or you've um, always been that way and always been the kid that like was up for every single race at sports day. And often neither of those things are the case. It's maybe been a slow transition or it's something that you kind of fell into accidentally, whatever that looks like. So I can imagine that a lot of people listening will definitely relate to that. So how do people get involved?
So at the moment, nothing major is going on. But we normally do all of our things via Instagram. So it's like we throw up an Instagram story and you basically say yay or nay. We just try to keep it like easy as possible. There are many barriers into sports and we try to like get rid of them. So making sure things are easily accessible and just yeah, fun spaces. But keep an eye out 2021. We have some things in the works. So yeah, just basically keep your eyes peeled.
Looking
I'll
forward.
give like all the Instagram handles and stuff. But yeah,
So Instagram is the best place to find it, yeah? To find
yeah.
some cool details. Yeah, amazing. Okay, we're slowly running out of time, but let's go back to you. So why do you run?
And I run because it's my job. But also, I just think that I'm like on my best self when I'm running. Like, I find I'm a lot more confident, I'm a lot more creative, and a lot of my work requires me to be creative and think creatively. And running kind of just unlocks that all. And especially now that I'm trail running a lot more, because trail running for me was probably once every couple of months,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh yeah, think about it and whatever. Um, I'm trying like different trails. I'm trying to think of like different ways to get people into running, but trying to make it fun and not like so intimidating. Yes, there is a lot of hard work needed, but if I can kind of like get you in the mood for it, everything else will fall into place, and I will be here to support you. And if that's, I don't know, you need help with nutrition, I'll point you in the direction of whoever the nutritionist is, and strength and conditioning, all that kind of stuff. But I run because it just helps me my day-to-day life. It's one of those things I help to break up my day. I run when I have a bad day. I run when I have a great day. I don't run when I'm having a really, really bad day. But yeah, it's a part of my lifestyle, and it's more than the physical now, and it's just like everything else that kind of comes from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so many people are so naive to what running can be. Like you say, it can be a stress release, it can be social, it can be a challenge, it can be literally anything you need it to be. Running can usually, maybe not every answer in the world, but
Yeah,
definitely get a lump sum of them. Um,
absolutely.
so, final question. And we have touched on it a little bit, and I think I'm going to know the answer because you did hint at it earlier. But do you have a big goal for this year? Next year?
So my big goal for next year is to run my first ultra. Um, I kind of just like I've been in the head space for it for about the whole of this year. So it's kind of just sort of been like dragging on a bit. So I can't wait to actually be in the environment and running these like crazy distances. But I'm so grateful now I have a community to take along on the journey and on their own journeys. So my goal is obviously complete my own, but bring people with me to unlock whether it's a 10K, 5K, 100K, whatever it may be. That's the goal.
Amazing. Well, hopefully we can convince you to come and do one of ours too.
Yeah, I've been spying on them, and I'm like, oh, trying to like count the months. But yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously slightly biased, but they are the best. Um, and a very good atmosphere, I think, is the number one thing. They are absolutely incredible experiences, which I think any ultra marathon should be. You know, if you're in that mindset to take something on, you should be as ready for an incredible experience as you are an incredible race. Um, so fingers crossed, we'll see you very, very soon. But thank you so, so much for joining me.
No, thanks for having me.
We got on, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you for having me, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your day and weekend and everything else.
Amazing. See you soon.
See you. Bye.